Welcome, everyone, to Sysco Canada's virtual kitchen show. I don't know if you guys all love that epic moment at the beginning there, but we're very excited today to talk to everyone a little bit about our business solution series. And today we're going to focus on menu and marketing services and all these amazing, awesome resources we have through this system we currently have right now. But the one thing I do want to touch on, I think it's very, very cool, is we have an amazing guest lineup today in our panel. So I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. We'll start out in BC there, but I'm going to just drop this little thing here and everyone can say hi.
There we go. Well, Jay, thank you very much for inviting me. I am Michael Audette. I am the marketing manager for Sysco British Columbia. I look after Kelowna, Vancouver, and Victoria. And menu services is a big passion of mine. We have a great service that we are able to offer to our customers, and I'm excited to talk about it today.
Awesome. Mr. Kevin Penner or Sysco Kevin?
I am Kevin Penner, although below Sysco Kevin. Very excited to be here. I also, I don't want to say I feel like Michael stole my thunder a little bit, but I also Sysco Marketing Services. And honestly, it's a next, to me, like really, it's a next level as a region. Again, Prairies region is where, so Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Northwestern Ontario is the region that I work in. Marketing manager, business resource consultant, and yeah, just this team, like this special team that we have access to and that our customers have access to, just super stoked.
Awesome. Welcome, Mr. Kevin. Val? We like just calling you Val.
No problem. Hi, everyone. My name is Val Zakia. I am the Director of Business Resources for the Ontario South region. So that's Toronto, Southwestern Ontario, and Milton. And I'm very excited to be here today. Thanks for the invite, Jay. I'm excited to talk about all the services we can provide our customers.
Awesome. Thanks, Val. Amy?
All right. I'm Amy Lichter. I'm the marketing manager in Ontario North. So we have locations in Peterborough and Ottawa. And I'm excited, just like everyone else, to be here. I think menus are an easy way for a restaurant to communicate their brand. So I think it's an important tool. So I'm really excited to have that discussion today.
Awesome. It's going to be a great discussion, and it's something that I'm floored by what we offer our customers through menus and marketing services. So it is just awesome. So let's start out. So who wants to start describing it? Let's describe a little bit of what this is for our viewers. Michael, do you want to start?
Sure.
That guy right there.
It's funny. I was just saying to Jay, I'm like, how do we make sure we don't talk over each other, but we're all eager and we all want to share. Let me jump in here with what is menu and marketing services. And, essentially it's a free service that we offer to our customers to help them build great looking tools to market their business. If I was to take a deeper dive into it, there are essentially three services built under one that our customers can take advantage of. And number one, it's self-service. So there's a full on-demand template design driven tool to help you quickly turn around a menu. Number two, there's the full service package. So a brand new, fresh new look designed from the ground up. Really, you provide the content and direction. The team then takes over and delivers you a great looking menu. Now, this process does take a little bit of time to turn around, but if you're truly engaged with it, you can have it done in as little as a few weeks. And if anybody knows how much it costs to hire a graphic designer and pay them to do it with all the edits and back and forth, this can be a significant savings. And then number three, some of the ancillary marketing support, such as custom COVID safety signage, QR codes, smaller menu projects, they really do it all.
Wow.
That's a great summary.
That was a lot. That was great.
Well, and I was kind of waiting to see if he'd take them all away from me, but a couple that I've stumbled onto in the last few months, logo. So if you're a business that doesn't necessarily have and don't get me wrong, lots of places already have their logo and brand set up and designed, but they can help you put together a logo. And we haven't done this for a ton of customers, but we've done it for a few where they've put together a very professional. I'll use the term vector, i.e., like these are print ready graphics that are ready for them to use, whether they want to do custom printed merchandise, that sort of thing. So we've used the team for that. We've had them help us with some social media type templates. We're just, as Michael was saying, like the quick COVID menus, just some basic editable templates where the customer now can have a template where they can just shift images in and out, but have that same consistent brand and background. And yeah, like to me, those are two of the really special ones that enhance what Michael was talking about as well.
Absolutely. Is there anything else you want to add to it? Val?
No, go ahead, Amy.
No, I was going to say, like, I think if you think of any kind of marketing element, there's support for that in one of those two avenues, whether it's through self-serve or through the concierge type service.
Awesome. Well, let's go right into that, because that's really where I'd like to go next. Is how do you get started? Like, how do you use this system? How does customers use this system?
I know the customers have three options and reaching out to the team. So the first option would be asking their MA that they need help with their menu. So the MAs can reach out to the menu services team, or they can go directly to the menu services team through their hotline, their 1-800 number, or their email, which is also available on the toolkit and the website, our website, sysco.ca.
Cool. So really easy. Is it a hard process? Anyone want to jump in on that to work with the team down in with our team that takes care of us on the menu services?
I think
I don't think it's a hard process by any means. It really depends on what you're trying to do. Certainly, the full menu project is an undertaking, and you really need to have all of your ducks in a row. You know, your most up-to-date menu, all provided in a Word document or PDF document, somewhere where they can copy and paste your text. But just going through it on that meticulously and making sure that everything's spelled right, everything's laid out like you want it, so that the design team can then go and place it. That would be to help you along with the project, that would be one of the fastest ways to get from A to B.
Amy, did you want to touch on that too?
Well, and I think that the ease of being able to communicate with the team when your project is started, the online proofing system is quite easy to do, and you're able to comment and make changes to get your menu to what you want it to be.
Perfect. So this sounds expensive. Does it cost anything?
It is absolutely free. So, Sysco understands how this pandemic has affected this industry. Although we have no control over the rules and regulations the government dictates, but Sysco does have control over what we can do to help our customers. And menu services is just one of the value-added services we offer our customers for free. So.
That's awesome, Val. And it is something that I think a lot of people can use it more than once.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely. You can even, if you had an initial project and you wanted to update it eventually, you can come back to menu services and request that the first menu they made for you, they can update it for free.
That's pretty cool. How cool is that?
I think that the other thing that's great too is that when you have maybe there's a few layers of a project, it's not about just going them just for a menu and then that's it. It's maybe you're using that menu on your website, or maybe you're adding in a QR code. Maybe it's the takeout menu. So everything's tied and branded together for your operation.
Excellent. So I want to talk a little bit here around why it's so important to adjust your menus today in our crazy world the crazy uncertain world we're living in right now. Let's touch on that. Let's talk a little bit about this because I think this will take some time to kind of share ideas and what this means to be changing your menu or adjusting your menu in today's world. What's the start on that? I think
If I can jump in, Jay,
Yeah.
I would say the top three: cash flow, labor, and cost. A big menu means that you're going to need to inventory more, which directly affects your cash flow. Labor, we all know that in today's world, we got to do more with less. Less skilled labor in the kitchen means that you might not be able to keep up with the number of dishes and certainly your quality statement and your brand standards. And then third, the rising cost. The cost of takeout containers has risen quite a bit. We're also heading into a season where commodity items are greatly affecting what your overall price is. So prices are going to fluctuate quite often. So making sure that you have, that pared down menu with a little bit of that flexibility to change. And then I'll let my other folks talk about it. But I want to talk later about shifting into the winter menu strategy.
Sure. Who else wants to touch on this part? Because I find Michael's definitely nailed some big areas on the menu that we do see a lot of locations, adjusting their menus because of those reasons. Is there anything else you guys want to add?
I think so. Michael touched on labor and inventory. So those are two very important points. So in terms of labor, if you only have one person in the kitchen cooking, preparing for your takeout, you may want to consider buying items that are pre-sliced or pre-cooked or things like that, and have multiple applications. You can use it in multiple applications because your inventory should be smaller now that you have a smaller menu.
Absolutely. And inventories can get pretty crazy. And I'm assuming, maybe I'll throw this out to everyone as well, is that we're probably not selling the items we typically would sell in a sit-down format. Michael, you were mentioning about going out recently and having a different experience. And if we are seeing a lot of places, cater to third-party delivery or takeout, are you necessarily ordering the proteins you used to order? Or is it burgers now, not steaks? Right? Is that adjusting? So do you carry that on your menu, carry that in your inventory because you're not maybe selling a lot of those as you were in the past? So I do believe that definitely shrinking your inventory, being more conscious of what goes in your menu is very important. Anyone want to touch on that?
Well, I think that when you adjust your menu and based on what your inventory is, and maybe you're steering, you want to steer people to certain dishes. That's where a well-designed menu is going to be able to influence your patrons' purchasing behavior based on those items. So if you've moved to this item, or because you've gotten rid of item X, but you want to push people that maybe would have ordered that, I think that where your menu design helps is focusing them towards certain items that you want to sell volume on.
Absolutely. And I'm assuming that happens the same on third party. Right. I have one of the biggest things to ask third party is why you put beverages at the end. Right? If you ever order off third party, they typically put beverages as your last decision, which is almost using the same mindset as a paper menu. Well, we always typically put beverages and cakes and desserts at the end. We're definitely seeing that same pattern in third-party apps where desserts and beverages or add-ons are at the end. But I don't know if I'm not, and maybe we can just chat about this a little bit, but I don't know if the psychology is the same as a paper menu as it is on a third-party app where you're scrolling. Does anyone want to touch on that? Kevin?
Well, yeah, that's interesting. I was going to talk about something that, and I unfortunately miss it sometimes with customers too, but it's something called menu anchoring, and a little bit along the lines of what you were talking about with beverage. but I think it gets lost far too often now. And I do believe there's some flexibility with the third party, but it would require a fair amount of work, I think, on the end user's end. And I think that might be why in some cases it doesn't happen. But the idea of pricing everything the same, right? There's actually psychology and science behind people don't typically order the most expensive or the least expensive. Sometimes they'll pick somewhere in the middle. So if you don't give them a range or choice, then you can't necessarily steer them towards and I love that what you pointed out about beverages, but that's the science has been done with small, medium, and large beverages. A lot of people typically go in the middle, right? So I think to your point, it requires another level of engagement, because now you've handed over the potentially, depending on how you've engineered your menu, you've handed that science over to somebody else, and I think it requires you to potentially, I know people hate the term micromanage, but literally be on them saying, no, I need these items moved up, I need these items moved down, like that sort of thing, right?
Mm-hmm. And I think the menu, like if so, you're all open, you got your restaurant running, and you're doing third party. If you do have the opportunity to have in-house dining still, and a lot of locations don't have that, unfortunately. I think you touched on something I wouldn't mind just talking about with everyone. What would you recommend right now on the frequency of adjusting your menu? That we know that Sysco Menu and Marketing Services will do this for you when you need this. How many times should we be changing the menu right now? Would you recommend for these times?
I think it's a balance. It's a tricky balance because you certainly want to have some consistency with your customers. And you don't want to be constantly changing menus, putting new menus in sleeves. There is a process behind it, but you should be, at least on a quarterly basis, reanalyzing your menu and looking at that pricing, and certainly using your fresh sheets or feature sheets, as your innovation. So use that as a testing ground for products that could make it onto your next menu as a menu change because they were so darn popular. So you got to mix a little bit of that psychology with a little bit of the change, with a little bit of customer attitude and behavior. It's a very careful and delicate process, but I think every 3 months certainly was a reasonable prospect.
And if I can add to that, Michael, you said it 1 or 2 points ago, but about the fluctuation in commodities. If you're gonna stay on top of those things, I know some people are thinking, oh, 4 times a year, that seems like a little bit much. But back to some of the things we talked about, inventory and turns and all that. If you're not doing it every 3 months, then those volatile items, we've got customers now that we're meeting with, and we're doing our sessions virtually right now, but our business resource teams are meeting with customers, and they're doing exactly what Michael talked about. They're going, hey, this is not the best item to be buying for the next 3 months. You might want to think about making a change, right? And some people know these things, but a lot of people don't. And I think that more regular review and an extra few, again, you can sometimes have too many sets of eyes, but an extra set of eyes now, you got somebody going, hey, why did you have this on? Like, well, because we always have. Maybe you should move away from that for 3 months or for 6 months, that sort of thing.
Yeah, you know what, Kev? It's really interesting because we've had some people on the show over the last little bit just talking about different theories now. We're seeing restaurants, live in a virtual world that they cannot have anyone in there, that they're having to adjust their menus and be more attentive on their menus way more than they've ever been. And I think, Michael, you touched on the LTOs and the feature menus and the fresh sheets. I think it's more important than anything to really pay attention to that because it's so easy nowadays to order from another restaurant because this one didn't explain it right on the menu, or it didn't have pictures. I'm going to talk about pictures here in a second. But I think you just need to be more careful. And you said that it's very delicate and very sensitive area now to make your menu stand out opposed to everyone else in your area and to bring in new customers.
Yeah, I was going to say, you also got to, as a business owner, you got to be able to give yourself a little bit of flexibility. And when you have a sort of a smaller menu or a menu that you can manage, when, romaine goes to double and or triple in the wintertime, you have to be able to adjust. And I think the worst thing that you can do from your number one marketing tool is to take a sticky note and cover up an item that you don't have. Or, I've seen liquid paper, or makeshift menus. I don't think that adds a lot of confidence to the person that opens it up and looks at it and is starting to make a buying decision about what you have available and what you don't have available.
Mm-hmm. The whiteout, right? Yeah, those days, eh? Yeah, wow. Very
Old
dangerous,
school.
right?
Mm.
Sorry, who was that?
Oh, that's me. White
Okay.
out. Very old school.
I was gonna say, for you young fellas, it's
You
some
might
people
not know what
don't-
it is.
exactly right. No, it's
Hey,
I think it's
you
so
laugh, but
important.
it's out there.
I've still seen it.
Yeah, exactly. So it is something that I think it's very important, and I think it's important just to understand this more and lean into it. We've met with thousands of operators over the year, and there's a lot that take it very serious, but there's also a lot that just do it and don't really pay attention to it. And I think in today's world, as we're all fighting for extra sales and profits and customers, I think spending that on planning and have a strategy built separate on your menu is important in today's world. Not having it in a sense because a cost might for a designer. Well, we checked that mark off earlier in today's conversation. We'll do that for you. It won't cost you anything. So we got that under control. That's going to save you thousands of dollars because menus are not inexpensive to produce. They're very, very expensive. Especially if you have larger ones and even more delicate. They seem to always go up in price when you get it printed. So if you look at a digital menu, that's going to be definitely a benefit to change it up all the time. Plus, you can use it into your third-party apps. So I think there has to be a really good strategy built around your menus today. And it goes down to the design, to the look, to the feel, to make sure you don't have the whiteout or the tape covering things up. People are going to reflect a lot on your menu and on their decisions today, especially because we're being all forced to go online and look at what's that menu offer and what happens on that menu before we even go and take a chance with a new restaurant. So
Well,
I think that's so
especially
important.
today,
Yeah,
look at what is happening in the industry. People are going to paper disposable menus.
yeah,
That full big menu that you had a lot of hard cost in printing and the menu covers, right now is all out the window. So now's the best time. This is the flexibility that I'm talking about. You can easily make a change and print on demand. You can run over to Staples and have brand new menus printed within an hour. So that flexibility combined with everything else that's happening in your business and menu wise, commodities, labor, all of these things, you'd really have a very powerful tool at your disposal that certainly has a lot more flexibility than what it used to have.
exactly. So I want to get into something that you said earlier, Michael, and I'd love everyone's point of view on this. Let's talk about this winter menu. Can you tell us a little bit, Michael, around the thought on what you should be looking at when you're looking at winter menus?
Yeah, I think winter, I say winter menu in air quotes. I actually call it the winter menu strategy. And this is, really it's a hard look, using good data. So looking at your sales mix, taking off those items that are not selling, that you're carrying inventory on, streamlining it down, and then using, get it down to your core items that sell well, that you can move inventory on and get rid of some of that other inventory. And then introducing LTOs, like I said before, but really wrapping it all up into, less items means more cash flow, which also has an immediate impact on your labor, which has an immediate impact on your quality and your brand standards, and then the repricing. Best of all, that fresh sheet and giving your kitchen brigade that time to be creative, be innovative, and bring new things in. Menu fatigue is a real thing. Going back to that fresh sheet and bringing new things in and keep people coming back is certainly what is key. So that's what I call the winter menu strategy. You can call it a spring menu, a summer menu strategy. There should be some type of strategy wrapped up in it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's important because I just work with a lot of restaurants. There's a lot of strategies, and surprisingly, sometimes there's not a lot on the menu, right? And it is a long process to get a new item on your menu. The process that you have to go through with tasting it, testing it, recipe, time frames of how long it cooks for, your product, people's opinions. LTOs are great to do as well in this area. It super is. But anyone want to touch on the strategy idea around menus?
It's a pretty big swath there. Like when you say strategy.
What do you think, Kev? Is this something that you recommend as
Oh, I think it's all about strategy, and I think that term winter menu, summer menu, that idea of again, depending on the culinarian, I honestly think this pertains to everybody. But if you again, depending on where you live in the world, you drive down the road and you can see that there aren't things growing outside, right? So using that mentality of what sorts of ingredients are more readily available and stocked over a time period, right? And not handcuffing yourself. The example was used of romaine, right? But I'm even thinking ingredients closer to home in some cases. So I think it's important to build your a strategy. And again, you use the term LTO and that idea of building it to an amount. And then when it's done, we move on to something else. But at least then you've, let's say, secured a certain amount of inventory or whatever to support that. And then you make that next strategy, right? And strategy isn't really necessarily a quote, but strategy forces strategy, right? So at the end of something, you're now forced to plan the beginning of something new, right? And now that creates a good positive habit.
Agree. Anyone else?
I mean, I think that once you have, when you have that, I agree with what Michael and Sysco Kev have said. And I think LTOs are a great way to try things. And I think that Michael's winter menu strategy or summer or spring, whatever we're calling it, it's a great one. And then when you have those and when you layer in activity like social media to promote those and really get them out there, I think that how you evolve your menu after that seasonal time or that next 3 months or 4 months and so on. I think you're setting yourself up for success.
Cool. Agree. So we only got a few minutes here left. Let's talk a little bit about marketing during this time. Michael, you got like a 5-point here notes on what we need to do around marketing. You got that nailed down. Do you want to start, Michael, a little bit? Maybe not go through all that, but just kind of high level. Give me 5 things that you really believe is important right now when you consider going into even after the holidays. Because right now, a lot of people probably have a good strategy, hopefully, on the holidays, but coming into the January, February, March time period. Do you want to touch on some I'm going to say strategies again, but what do you really need to be focused on around marketing?
Let me touch on 2 things really quick. The first one is it's the fundamental that every restaurateur gets into the business for, and that is, feeding people but creating an experience. And I think whether it's dine-in, takeout or curbside or delivery, you need to create an experience. And there's lots of tips and tricks around wrapping that up. And, each one will have its own strategy put into it. So really, looking through the lens of creating a guest experience is paramount. The next thing is, social media and food photography. Consumers are looking you up and looking at your food and your social media and your menu before they've even made the decision to come to your establishment, unless you're frequenting a regular place where you know what you can expect. If you're trying something new, this is what people are doing. And if you don't got that game tightened up, you could potentially be losing out on business. Social media, it's a whole other subject, but we all know it's not a set it and forget it and hope for the best. And I think where customers really struggle is, having enough content to feed the social media beast. And if I was to wrap up one tip, and if you're not confident with the food photography and you want to invest some dollars, hire a professional photographer to come in. Make sure you do all your pre-work with them, of course, but have them come in and have them shoot your food. Most important with that, you already have them there. It might just be a few dollars more. Multiple angles. When people start seeing the same image on your social feed, they'll check out. But if you got multiple different angles of whatever that feature burger is, whatever that entree is, different angles will give you different content that you can put within your feed. So, taking a 20 item menu, shooting 3 different angles, you have a lot of content that you can put in. So that's my great tip. I'll turn it over to my colleagues to give their input.
And I was hoping to add bounce backs. People have varying opinions on couponing and discounting. The reality is people have more choices today than they've ever had. And some type of reason, again, and I just want to segue to menu services for a second, have them make a deck, an editable deck of coupons, $5 off your next visit, something to increase, get me to come back with a short timeline. And then something that's got an expiry date, right? And then you cycle them and you rotate them. You give them a different try, right? But at the end of the day, that big thing, one of my team members used to say, getting them from 1 to 1.5 visits per week. Anything and it sounds silly, right? I can't really come for half a visit, but getting that person to come more frequently and more rotate, right? So, that to me, I think it's really important. It's so easy, whether it be with the third party guys or a third party group or not, you staple it on the bag, whatever it might be, but just some kind of, I'll order something again this week,
I think, and I think we've talked about this maybe in some of our chats, not in our meetings, but the idea of marketing now for in January, February is, in December, it's the holidays. And so it's, thank you, happy holiday. Here is a coupon to come back in January for a certain percentage off. Or we've seen the ideas out there for different, maybe it's a prize or a closed envelope idea where they might not know exactly what's in there, but we'll find out when they come back in January. But it's really encouraging those orders to come back in January and marketing towards that.
Going back to social media and LTO. So I think it will work well together and help you with your inventory. So for example, your customer, your restaurant plans to put together home meal replacement kits for the holidays. You can promote that in social media and say, on Monday, I have this home meal replacement kit steaks. I have 100 boxes, limited time offer only. So you're able to manage your inventory for that particular product. And then Tuesday, you have another thing that you'd like to promote and just have 100 of that. So it works well together. Promote in social media, manage your inventory, and use whatever creative ideas you have to promote your product, and use Sysco if you need assistance in putting together menus or marketing materials or whatever else you need.
Well said. Well said, Val.
Very well said.
So there.
Hey, Jay, I want to address the comment there from Todd about using the menu services. Todd is one of our business development managers in the Thompson Okanagan, and you see his comment there that he uses menu services. So here's my call out: if you're a restaurant business and you're on the fence about doing business with Sysco, or you don't know why, here's a great reason as to why you want to come on board with us. We have a service that we're offering for free that nobody else in the industry is offering. If that's not much of a decision, try it out. See what you get. And I'm sure that you're going to be pleasantly surprised with the results on what you're going to get and how you're going to be able to leverage it for your business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of different value there that we bring, but Todd's nailed it there. And really great example to show what makes us different and to give us a try, as you put it, Michael. Thank you. That was perfectly well said. So we're going to wrap up here. Is there any last words you want to say around menu and marketing services? Marketing, Kevin? I know you're just dying.
I just want to add. I kind of further add to what Michael said. That I feel bad that I missed this. Not only is this team of menu experts available to you as a customer, these are industry people. So when Michael made that comment about nobody else offering, and so so and so could do this. Hey, listen, I used to throw the odd menu together for Sysco as well. These folks are graphic designers. Almost all of them have worked in the industry. So that you're getting not only are you getting a great service, you're getting a next level professional service that, again, further to what Michael, Val, what they said, that there's really not available anywhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. Any last words, Val, Amy?
For customers, don't forget to add a plant-based option when you have takeout menu.
Brilliant.
You mean like a salad, Val?
Exactly. Not exactly what I'm trying to avoid. Not salad and soups are not considered well, it is plant-based, but that's not a meal. Consider having even just one option for plant-based for our plant-based folks, because it's always the amount of people who are doing vegan. And don't use the word vegan or vegetarian. You use Cuban black bean soup or Cuban black bean sandwich, because sometimes vegan and vegetarian, adding those two words to the menu may have a negative effect to your consumers. So just don't make it so different from the rest of the menu. Just explain what it is, or name it depending on what product you're using. So yeah, that's it.
That's really good advice, Val. Can you beat that one?
And the only thing I was going to say, I was going to go back to what I said in my introduction, which is your menu is one way for you to clearly communicate your restaurant's brand. And we talked about how the amount of online traffic that your operation is seeing right now, it is one way to give a first impression to your potential customer.
Yeah, especially if it's online, eh? Like, I think everyone checks out. Forget the stats, but I think it's almost everyone now checks out online on their phone or before they go out the restaurant, before they eat in. Like, they know more about your restaurant before they go in.
If you have it posted on your Facebook page, or if it's on one of the tabs of your website, that's it's a way to make a first impression before somebody decides to order, visit, whichever.
Yeah, especially today. Yeah. Great advice. I just want to thank you guys, first of all. Awesome stuff having you guys on here. Great conversation around this. We're going to have a lot of people watching this later on our on-demand channel on Sysco.ca, as well as on Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn. And we have more information like this all the time on our SVK show. Tons of information to use. You get to hang out and listen to experts like Michael and Kevin and Amy and Val. Val, do we have a show coming up next week too you want to mention a little bit about? Because you're just dying to.
Thank you, Jay.
Plug out a plug, Val.
Yes. So on November 24th, on Tuesday next week, our region, Ontario South, is hosting our first regional show, focusing on holiday. It's a holiday workshop focusing on whole meal replacement kits and takeout dishes for the holidays. And we have two of our chefs going face to face. So we'll see who wins. So join us on November 24th at 11 a.m. Eastern. So
there you go. Any other plugs, Michael?
Jay, you got to schedule more time for these, man. There's so much to We just
We
scratched
can-
the
you know what?
surface
The
on
nice-
what we could do
Well-
and the services that we offer. If anybody wants, if you're looking at the on-demand piece, I recorded a tutorial on how to use the menu services, and that can be made available to anybody. Just reach out and ask. But let's do this again, and let's do this again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is our series. So we'll have Michael again come back many times and share more tips and advice, and everyone else will have you back. But absolutely, we have tons of information. Use it as you can, listen, and we got more and more shows coming up. I think we have 30 by the end of the year. So we're gonna kill it till then. And please tune in more and more. And beauty is you can watch it on your phone, right? You don't need to log in or anything. We don't have registration. You just jump on, watch the shows. So more to come. But I just want to thank you. You guys are awesome. Great ideas. Great conversation around a great subject that we need to help our customers out. Our customers can tune in more and more on this. But on that, everyone else have a great rest of your day. Thanks again. Go out there, eat in a restaurant, do takeout, buy some groceries from a restaurant. You name it, curbside. Get out there and do it. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much, folks.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.